The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I get a phone call. Hi, Rabbi Wallerstein. Oh, girl. Hi, Rabbi Wallerstein. My name, I'm going to make up a name. My name is so-and-so Friedman. Do you remember my brother? He was in your class 25 years ago. I'm like, do I remember your brother? Your brother was my gentle giant. Now, at that time, 25 years ago, there was no Ornava, there was no girls. I just taught my boys. So I was totally focused on my boy. This boy lost his mother. He didn't have a mother. I don't know where his father was. I took care of him. He was my 8th grader, and then I paid for him. I sent him to different yeshivas. He got kicked out of every yeshiva. And I sent him to all these different yeshivas. He got kicked out of every yeshiva, but I paid all these yeshivas. I paid his tuition, and he was just a big guy, but such a soft guy. Okay, anyway, I didn't see him for a long time. I came to a wedding. I'm going to show you a crazy picture tonight. I borrowed my secretary's iPhone to show you this picture. So I thought she's going to tell me. So she goes, have you been in contact with my brother at all? I'm like, no. And then I'm ready for well, I have some bad news for you. He's, we're sitting shiva. I lost a few of my talmidim I lost this year. Cancer and drugs or whatever it is. So I've gone to a couple of shivas of my students. I'm teaching 40 years ago. So these guys are like 55, 50, whatever. So she's saying, well, I want to tell you something about my brother, and I'm ready to hear that he committed suicide, he OD'd, whatever it is, because when I met him after he left my class. He was 13. I sent him to Rochester. He got thrown. I sent him here. Wherever I sent him, he got thrown out. And then I didn't see him until he was about 22. And I went to his sister's wedding. He had a sister in Crown Heights Yeshiva also. And I went to the wedding, and there was this tall guy with a Hell's Angel black leather jacket with a long beard with a rubber band in it, with long ponytail with a rubber band, braided with a rubber band in it, tattoos all over his face, all over his hand, like Hell's Angel. He's a Hell's Angel. He's a biker, right? The chain to the wallet, the whole look, the boot, the whole look, right? I'm like, we'll call him Ellie. It's not his name. We'll call him Ellie. I'm like, what's going on, Ellie? How are you? He says, hey, Rabbi, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. What's going on? He said, I want to show you something. Takes off his jacket. And it's a true story. And he puts out his left hand. And there's no tattoos. He said, every part of my body has a tattoo. He says, Rebbe, you remember Tillin? I'm like, yeah. He had his grandfather's Tillin. Yeah. He was the only kid in my class I didn't buy Tillin for, because his grandfather who died left him over Tillin. Whatever. He said, I can't imagine one day I might walk into shul and it just wouldn't be respect to God to put tefillin on a hand that's full of tattoos. So my whole body's covered, his whole body. I didn't see one part of his body that didn't have a tattoo. He says, but not this hand. I gave him a kiss. I was like, wow, that's amazing, right? And I'm thinking to myself, he's laying in a tattoo parlor, right? The girls, the bikers, the girls, the guys, they're probably drinking, smoking up, whatever it is. They're all tattooed. They're all bikers, right? He's laying on the table. The guy's tattooing his legs, his arms, his chest, his neck, everything. He's like, hey man, don't tattoo my left hand. He's in the lowest place in the world, surrounded by the lowest. And he's like, you don't touch my hand. I tefillin. I'm like, why was he thinking of tefillin at that point? Like, who cares about tefillin? You're a biker, right? Something. So she says to me, and I'm scared he's dead, right? Because that's why she's calling me. I'm having a bad day, right? This day started with, I hate you. And the next thing's like, yeah, he's dead. Like he fell off a bike somewhere. And she's like, I wanted to tell you that my brother got married about 1.5 years ago. And this morning, he made a bris for his son. I'm thinking he probably married a biker or some guy, I don't know, whatever. I'm like, is he married to a Jew? She says, to a Jew? She's Lubavitch and she wears a sheitel. I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, he became from. And he's married to a Lubavitcher girl. and they're Shomer Shabbos, and they start a community. He's part of Lubavitch, and they're starting a community in Florida. I think she told me where, whatever it is, and like, hey, Shomer Shabbos, and he just made a bris for his little baby boy, his first child. She says, but that's not all, Rabbi Wallerstein. I want you to know he never, ever forgot you. And he never forgot that his Rebbe was there for him. He didn't have a mother, and I don't know what the situation was, and that you always took care of him. He got thrown out of school, you put him in another school, you took him in another school. She said, so he named the baby Zecharia. Zecharia Yeshaya. She said, but I know you're alive, and we don't cheat their Ashkenaz, so we're saying that we named him Zecharia because he just loves that name. But Rabbi Wallerstein, he named him after you, because you're the one constant in his life. 25 years ago. What did I do for him? I just loved him, whatever. First of all, he was my big blocker in football. He was a big guy. So he saved me many times from getting tackled. But he was just my guy. So I want to show you guys the picture that his sister sent me. Everyone has to see this picture. Maybe you can zoom in on the camera. He's holding the baby after the bris in his left hand. Nothing. No tattoos, nothing. His baby boy, he's holding in that hand. He said, in the worst time of his life, you're not putting a tattoo on that hand, because that's my tefillin hand. And I was like, I pulled the car over, I started crying. I'm like, Hashem, you know, I had the worst morning of my life. No one ever told me they hated me. No girl ever said, I hate you. Every fiber of my body hates you. I'm never going to forgive you. I'm like, and you saw me suffering, and you saw me questioning, and you sent me this phone call from 25 years ago from his sister on the same day? I'm like, I love you. I like, Hashem, you really, you love me.